Today, I'm talking with Britt Bankhead and Grace Patterson, the husband and wife duo behind The Town That Takes, a new indie horror action movie. I've got to say, I've seen a lot of indie horror and a lot of indie action, but this one definitely punches above its weight. There's a lot of variety here, and it's entertaining and well made with some fun twists and a lot of humor and good cheer. It takes itself just seriously enough. If Britt's name sounds familiar, you might be a Supernatural fan. Britt was working on a prequel to that show, but then they made an actual prequel to Supernatural, so that kind of ended those plans. But if you squint a little, I think you can definitely see how The Town That Takes, which that abandoned project ultimately kind of evolved into, has some supernatural DNA running through its veins. Britt and Grace are married in real life, and they clearly have some chemistry together. They're a delight to talk to. They're a real power couple. And Britt also talks about his time in the Army. He joined the Army after his brother died in the war. And their next movie will be a military kind of movie that's a tribute to him. But for now, let's focus on The Town That Takes, which is in theaters. And you can buy tickets and find the trailer in the description below. Oh, and this is not a Newsweek affiliated interview. And that's all I have to say about that for the time being. It looks like I'm a free agent now, so if you want to keep seeing interviews and other kinds of videos from me, and I'm working on some other kinds of videos, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and check out some of the other videos on the channel. Alright, let's get into The Town That Takes with Britt and Grace.
Hello there, gang.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well because I just watched your movie.
Oh, great.
Oh, yay.
I just finished it about an hour ago. So much fun, spooky, action, a little bit of PTSD on the side.
Yeah.
What's not to love?
Thank you for watching it.
Yeah, thank you.
So before, we're jumping in, but you guys are married, right?
Yeah.
A secret? It's not a secret, right?
No, it's not a secret now.
So, my question first for Britt.
Okay.
Tell me about making a movie and casting your wife and the pressure of directing someone who, is gonna take it home to you after the set. Or does she not do that?
I think that's the double-edged sword because you have one side where you're getting free labor and then the other side where you're paying for it.
Whatever. Take your notes, well. Yeah, no. He coaches me on all of my auditions and everything too. So it was actually really nice being directed by him because he knows how I work as an actor. And then I was able to give him notes too.
Yeah. Because it's hard when you're directing yourself. So she'd say, "Come here." And I'd say, "Okay." And she'd tell me and she'd say, "Try this." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go do it." And then I see her behind the camera. I'm like, "Okay, I think I nailed it."
So, and this is your first, your feature film directing debut. So, and marvelous job, I gotta say. I was really excited. I wasn't sure what to think at first. Yeah. But the way you kind of bring in all these disparate elements is a lot of fun, and I kind of never knew what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
Tell me about what was the impetus for wanting to do this type of story and then narrowing it down to the movie that you made?
So this actually came from a draft of another movie that I realized I was never going to get to make. And I went and called my friend John Blaze and I said, "Hey man, I've got this script. These are things I want to take out from it. Also, I want to go and do the Croatoan." And so we took a deep dive and we started looking into the Native American lore. And that's where we found the Wendigos and the changelings and all those things. And so we just implemented as much of it as we could since we had so much freedom basically to kind of make our own original kind of film.
Yeah, our own take on the Croatoan legend.
If I may ask, was this a Supernatural or I should say Winchester episode kind of thing that then evolved into this movie, or is that?
Yeah, I think so. It was actually a whole film. that I had written, and
that was supernatural.
Yeah,
It didn't have skinwalkers or anything like that, but it was definitely a supernatural vibe.
yeah, it was just one I liked, and it wasn't fully like fleshed out. It was just like, but there were sequences that I wanted and characters. So there was a car chase, the opening of the movie, the ending of the movie. There's just a lot of things in there that I really liked, but it wasn't really flowing with the rest. So I just turned it into this instead.
Grace, tell me about your character, and since you have an in with the writer,
Yeah.
do you have a degree of control or over the direction of your character, or is it kind of like, who am I this time? And Britt, like, are you open to the collaborating and tweaking the character that you created, or are you like, these are my words?
I'm very open to that.
Yeah.
I think good actors come to you with good notes.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm fortunate to have myself, is like good actors.
Yeah, and I had a lot of say in developing my character. So they were like, we think St. Clair needs to be more of a seasoned detective. And I'm like, no, I feel like she needs to be green. That would be a cool contrast to Miles' character, O'Shea. So they were really collaborative and letting me have my input, which was super nice because you don't usually get that as an actor.
Yeah.
You're right. She's green, but what I really like is that no one is helpless.
Yeah.
Your characters are not like, oh, I'm a hardened detective or cop, and then when something shows up, they're just like shivering and they drop their gun. Like, that doesn't happen in this movie.
Yes. Yeah, I like that too.
Tell me about the war veteran angle. I know that you're a veteran and you have a family history. If you'd like to talk about that, I'd be happy to hear it. But tell me about integrating that into your art.
So I thought, in indie filmmaking, you only have like 90 minutes if you're lucky. You don't have 2.5 hours to really flesh out a character. And I thought it would be easier just to use kind of like my own background as an army infantry guy, and makes it more realistic to the character that he's picking up guns and fighting and stuff versus him being like a banker and being like, oh, here's a gun. Bam, 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 bam. Like,
fighting.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, indie filmmaking. This is a budget movie, but
Sure.
It punches way above its weight class. I think part of that is because of your physicality, because of the triple threat starring, writing, directing. But you get a lot of mileage out of like the very limited, sparse use of visual effects. We get to see just enough that we don't feel ripped off, but not so much that we go, oh, I can see that's cheap, or I can see that's fake. Like,
Yeah.
tell me about like reeling it in and when to go big, knowing when to reel it in and when to go big.
So I would say like the creature that we did, there was a lot of back and forth in my head where I was like, I don't want to show it. I think it's scary if we just don't show it.
Yeah, that's true.
But then I've been in movies where they don't show it, and I remember as an audience member just being like, why didn't they show it?
Why didn't they show
Like,
it?
so
Yeah.
I had those two, angel and demon, on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And
And we spent a lot of time going back and forth with our artist for the creature. Is it going to be 4 legs, 2 legs? What is it going to look like?
Yeah.
But that was our only kind of CGI. Everything else was practical effects. If you want to expand on that, because that was important to you.
Yeah, practical effects were important.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of 80s movies, slashers, and I just think it looks better. You can't cheat it,
Yeah.
So
we ordered a lot of prosthetics, a lot of fake blood.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorites coming up? And Grace, are you a horror hound too? Because I've had girlfriends who've liked horror and girlfriends who've not liked horror, and you kind of have to figure out what's the safe space of what to watch on date night.
Yeah, so true. It was me and my dad's thing growing up, horror movies. So the original It, all of the Chucky movies, I watched them way too young. And then I've been blessed to be in a lot of horror movies. I've been usually the girl that dies. That's like my family's joke. Do you live through this one? I'm like, yes, I actually make it out alive in this one. Spoiler, yes. But I do love horror movies. So I was excited
Yeah. I grew up on like a lot of the slashers from the 80s, like Friday the 13th. Halloween's my favorite
Halloween, yeah.
horror movie. We watch it every Halloween, so
Basic.
Is that how you bonded? Do you have a meet cute that you'd be willing to share?
Um, I guess, well, we met on the last film that he produced, Insane Like Me, with Eric Roberts.
yeah.
So kind of just becoming friends on that set. And then on set you're there for usually 12 hours. That one was more like 15, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was kind of, I guess, our meet cute was just on set bonding over our love of films and filmmaking.
I've uh I've never done Eric Roberts, but I've heard some stories.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
he someone who you can direct, or do you strategically deploy him?
I feel like you give him some notes.
Yeah, I've given him notes and he takes notes really well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's any different than any other actor where they have their own ideas of,
Yeah.
Hey, I think I want to do this or
Surprise you in a scene too, which is kind of fun, which is fun as another actor in the scene.
His stuff is always gold though. So you can tell he's got decades of doing it. So
Um, like I was saying before, there's like a lovely mixture of different genres. You've got some car chase action, you've got some zombie action, and you've got some John Wick action.
Yeah.
Um, tell me about is that the easiest part? Is that like natural for you as an army guy, or like tell me about coming up with the choreo on that, or do you give it to the team and they teach you the moves?
so we came in, I love it, first of all. That's like my favorite part. We come in with a script and it's basically just your blueprint, but we have it all written out. This is how we're going to do it. And then we get to our location, our stunt coordinator's like, oh, we can't do that fight here. We're going to have to do something completely
Based on the
different.
location, just
Yeah.
from a spatial standpoint. So we're like, oh no.
Yeah, so the stunt team would create a fight and then they would show it to me and then we would go do it. Yeah, it was always fun for me though.
We broke a wall in the jail scene.
Yeah.
The flip, it broke the wall. They were like, that's gonna be $1,000 for breaking the wall.
And Grace, you have dance experience. Is that and I my best friend was a 90-year-old lady who loved like MGM musicals.
Oh, cool.
And I would show her like action movies and be like, this is basically just like the next generation of these dance movies. Like if Danny Kaye was around now, he'd be Jackie Chan, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No,
So,
I'm with you. It is so similar.
so like did you acclimate to the stunt sequences because of that? Like were you able to bring that into the the film? And how are Brit's dance moves?
I do feel like my dance background really helps because again, you're right, it is so similar, like, with agility, like punch here, one, hold one, two, and you're counting, I count it out, give it a little bit of style. So I definitely think that's helped me. And then Brit's dance moves are better than you would expect. So I think we could definitely take a dance class or two, but he has definitely some rhythm.
Tell me about like wanting to become an actor, and then I don't know, do you get parts or do you not get parts and you go, well, I'm gonna have to make my own movie then? What's like the trajectory for you as a filmmaker?
Um, I watched movies a lot when I was a kid, and I think going back as far as like Ghostbusters and being three, I would just reenact those scenes. And I always did that growing up. I'd watch movies, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. You watch Top Gun and be like, I want to be a pilot. And then you're like, what, I don't want to be a pilot, but I like the idea of playing a pilot. And so when I got out of the army, I saw Clint Eastwood and James Dean had used their GI Bill to go to filmmaking school. So I mean that's what I did, and I went to school in San Francisco, and I got out and just it was right after COVID, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like go out there and make something, see what happens, and from that I've kind of spawned where I'm at now.
Now you have in your family tree a very famous actress. It was a distant
Oh my
cousin.
gosh, you did your research. Yes.
Is that any part of your inspiration at all, or was it like because I think she passed before you were born, So is that like family lore, or did you find out later? What's that
I
relationship?
think I think it was family lore, and then it's just people have always talked about it.
I know it was cool. I was reading Demi Moore's memoir, and then she named one of her daughters after Tallulah Bankhead. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
no way.
You go into the army after your brother passes away.
yeah.
Um, did you have a trajectory for your life? Did you have ambitions for being an actor or a filmmaker in general, and then you just kind of deferred that in tribute to him?
Yeah, I was about to move to LA, and then that happened, and I basically is I act on so much like ADHD and like emotion sometimes.
Yeah.
I just after the funeral, I went to a recruiter and I was like, hey, what job could I do that I could shoot like a terrorist? And they were like, oh, infantry, and I was like, let's do that, and that just kind of diverted me um, from moving to LA basically. And then I got out and I just picked up where I left off and moved to LA anyway. So
Like it's a rash decision, but not something that you have any like regrets about. Like
not
you,
at all.
yeah.
No. I mean, it paid for my college to become an actor, and I lived pretty comfortable going to college um, and doing acting, which is more than a lot of people or actors get to do. A lot of actors are waiting tables, and so I think it was always a blessing.
Yeah. When I was looking you up and doing like my research, the big thing that came up was the abandoned or aborted Winchester
Yeah,
would have been series. Like,
yeah.
was that like you just loved the show and then wanted to make your version of it and kind of did like a spec pilot? What was the story there?
So
Yeah.
I really, the way the show was pitched to me, I was actually in Iraq, and my friend said, "Hey, dude, you got to watch the show." And I was like, "What is it?" And he tells me, and he's like, "Oh, you'll love it because it reminded me of you because it's about two brothers. There's cool cars, cool music. I mean, you'll love it." So like I watched that, and it really did remind me of me and my brother a lot. And then I think when it ended, I was just kind of like COVID, nothing was happening. Everything was kind of shut down. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go like make something. So I went and just took a swing at it.
Yeah,
And
it actually has some fans. There's like a Reddit forum of people that were like, "We love this. We wish this series would have been made instead." Like,
So when they did make the other
I know. Then they
prequel
actually made
series,
it. Yeah,
I
were
was
you
like, wow,
like,
dude.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, well, I guess we had the same idea.
did you ever
It
get to
worked.
meet any of that gang, any of the creatives, and like like were they aware of you? Was there any kind of
No,
no?
No.
no, nothing like that. So
At some point, you'll cross paths and be like, "I've got a story for you."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, I got a sweet Impala out of the deal though. So
That was the first thing you did, right?
first thing you do, that's the first thing you got to do, man.
Gotta get the car. Um, okay, so this movie is going to be successful. There's so many, indie horror movies that come out, and and I've seen a lot of them, and I'm happy to, report that this one is one that should definitely be on everyone's radar. So,
Yeah.
do you have like not to put the cart in front of the horse, but are you locked and loaded for the next one? Do you know what the next one is going to be when some, investor who I assume smokes a cigar goes, "All right, here's 500 grand, here's a million, whatever the budget is." Do
Yeah.
you have it locked and loaded?
We do. The next one we're gonna do is actually a military film dedicated to his brother. So that's one that's our next big project. But you can definitely expect to see us back in the horror space as well. So we'll be back.
Um, are you going to plan to write, direct, star? Is that like your momentum? Would you ever direct something that you're not starring in, or star in something that you're not directing? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I don't think I ever want to do producing, directing, and starring is it's a whole lot, and
It's exhausting.
it feels like a human game, a tug of war, and everybody's pulling you in a direction because everybody needs you for
Yeah.
whatever job you're doing. Makeup needs you because you're an actor. The crew needs you to set up the lighting to show them what you want. You just all over the place, and
Yeah.
it's just like it's impossible to do.
No more than 2 jobs is
And
the goal.
and then you get off, and then you're dealing with all the locations and making sure the
Yeah,
insurance is up, and it's
it's too
just
much.
yeah, it's a lot. So
And on like an indie film like this, like, you have, however many dozens of people on set, but when someone needs to, put up a wall or something, well, if you're there, you're the one who has to do it, right?
Right.
Like, you're
yeah,
really
right.
hands on.
Yes, it's all so hands-on.
I was
It's
a janitor
exhausting.
at point.
Janitor, yeah, we're crafty janitor. We're doing everything.
Yeah.
Uh, like, do you see yourself moving into like the big kind of studio space, or do you actually prefer? I mean, I've spoken to people who've worked on big studio movies, and when they go to an indie film, they actually prefer it because they don't have so many people telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we love the indie space because it's just fun because you all become such family by the end of it because you have such a small crew and cast. So I think that would feel really different. I mean, I think we're open to it, but I think our hearts always belong in the indie space.
Um, it- so can you share a hypothetical world where instead of making this, as an indie film, you get $30 million to make it or $50 million to make it,
Oh.
but you've got a producer breathing down your neck who gets to send the script out to 10 other writers who rewrite it. How do they improve the movie, and how do they ruin the movie?
Ooh, I think if we could improve it, we would have definitely jumped a car. That was something that we tried really hard to do. We had a miniature car, a miniature bridge, and tried to make the miniature version of it work. It just didn't. So I think we would definitely be jumping a car with a bigger budget.
Yeah, that whole car chase was inspired by Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then how do we think it would have made it worse?
Um,
Maybe some of the just originality of it. Like we kind of like that it feels like a bunch of blended genres, like the thriller, the mystery, the horror. I feel like we maybe would have lost some of that because I feel like they're really like you have to have it as one genre because it's simple for people to understand. And we just disagree. We think our audiences are smart and that they'll get it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned Smokey and the Bandit because I actually really appreciated that little car chase
Yay.
because it was so dissonant from like what we had just seen. Like he just fights off a zombie,
yeah,
and then it's basically Eastbound and Down.
yeah, absolutely. I had him say that in there. He's eastbound and down.
There you go. Was that a childhood favorite in your house?
It was, yeah, definitely. It was like that. Star Wars, Ghostbusters. My brother was into He-Man, so it's all over the place.
Did you see Masters of the Universe, the new one yet?
I haven't yet. No.
Yeah, me neither. I've heard good things, but I
Yeah,
haven't seen it yet.
yeah. It looked like Dolph Lundgren signed off on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um. So, well, now that you're making movies, speaking of Dolph Lundgren, do you have like a bucket list of people that you want to work with, of like either behind the scenes to take notes on your scripts, or to be able to call action on someone like Dolph, or who are your acting or filmmaking heroes?
I would love to see Sylvester Stallone in any kind of space on my movie, directing or acting or both, or
Yeah.
yeah, that would be like a dream.
Yeah. I would love to work with Cameron Diaz. That's kind of random, but
Oh,
I
yeah?
love her.
Love Cameron, love Sly. You know what? I think that you're the person to challenge Sly.
Yeah.
He's one of those actors. I feel like, and I don't think I'm talking out of class,
No.
but he can coast sometimes. But I think when he's got a director who can challenge him and get the best out of him, he really shines. I think you could do that to him.
Thank you so much. That's such a great compliment.
Well, I mean, you get a lot of mileage out of all the disparate elements in this movie. I'm just like really impressed, especially learning that that, you're such a young guy, so such an early effort from you. I was like, who directed this? Is this like some older kind of like 80s guy who's like coming back? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh. But although based on what you've told me so far, you kind of are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Um so Grace, do you ask Britt, who am I going to be this time? Or do you go, this is something I'm really interested in, wink wink?
um, yeah, I mean, I think there's not really a role for me in the military movie. I'm like, can you please add one in? Wink, wink. It kind of depends on the project.
Yeah.
But I'm like, come on, I have to be involved in some way.
You don't strike me as I mean, you're an actor, so you can play anything, but you don't strike me as the type who would be gunning to play the wife waiting at home who has a couple of scenes on the phone.
Yeah, I mean,
You're more hands-on than that, right?
I'm more hands-on than that. Yeah, I like a challenge. I want to be as involved as possible.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, I live here. I have to listen to the conversations anyway.
Well, so Britt, I'm sure you have that in mind. Have you ever written a role for Grace and she's been like, nah,
I don't
or let's work on this?
I think there might be some ones that I haven't told her about yet, but
I might not like.
but we'll see. She's pretty adaptable.
Yeah.
She came with her own merits on her character in this film, so
Yeah.
Right. You talked about evolving the character from what you wrote. So as a collaborator, is there a process to not taking a note personally, to eventually realizing, oh, we all want the movie to be better? Like, was there a moment where you were too precious, and then you go, wait, I know everyone wants the best for this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I think I feel like because we are married, he coaches me on everything. And so we already kind of have that trust. Like maybe initially at first, when he would give me notes on something, I'd be like, oh, I kind of like how I'm doing it. But then I've grown to trust him because when he coaches me, I always get up like pinned for the part or book the part. So I have a lot of trust in him as a director, and he really understands me as an actor. So I think because of that trust, whenever he says, do this and this with St. Clair, it was really easy to trust that opinion and not feel combative about it.
And kind of Britt, basically same question. Tell me about collaborating and about not being precious about the script that you wrote versus what you're going to shoot on the day.
yeah. I'm pretty good about collaborating, especially with like actors that come in. Nico Tarazi, who played my son in the movie, he would come to me and he'd say, "Hey, I have these notes.
Yeah.
I've got all these notes." And I'd say, "Okay, cool." And he really came prepared. He did his homework. And I'd be like, "Man, I didn't even think about that from you, man. But yeah, absolutely do that."
Yeah.
So,
Mike came with a lot of good ideas too.
Mike improv.
Well, and Miles, but
Yeah.
Mike improvs a lot.
Yeah, he does. So
We love his little, well, did you notice that in the movie? We're like, take a shot every time Mike says, well.
Okay. That's I actually something I was going to ask you about the son character, that he does a really interesting thing. I'm trying to think of what the word. It's not disconnect, but it's like almost like an atrophied, like paralysis, but he's like very matter of fact about the things that are happening because he's so online, I guess, and listening to the podcast. You're like, this is so unbelievable, but he kind of rolls with it in a very interesting way that you don't see from this kind of movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he did such a great job.
He did such a great job. Everyone's been like, is it hard working with a kid actor? I'm like, not Nico. He was so professional and on it and prepared. And
so humble.
And so humble. We're like, you worked with Mel Gibson? He's like, oh, yeah. We're like, you worked with Ryan Reynolds. He's like, oh, it was lovely. We're just like, oh, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's casting agents and all that, but like, did you like handpick the supporting cast, and you know, is that a whole separate pressure of like, oh, I've got it down to these two guys, or did everyone lock in and you're just like, oh, I know who I want?
Yeah, we did all the casting ourselves.
Yeah.
So
I think I have like an eye for talent sometimes. I never get in a predicament. I haven't been in one yet where I'm like, oh, it's between this guy and this guy. It's always like, that's the guy.
That's the guy. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, we felt
Yeah.
really confident in who was right for what.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his name now, but the older
Miles?
the sheriff, yeah.
Yeah, Miles Musenden.
Yeah.
We initially saw him in Tulsa King and loved him, and then we realized that I have the same management company as him, so we're like, oh, I wonder if we could get Miles. But he's so great on and off camera. We were so impressed by him, and he's so funny. Some of his family came in the last couple of days of shooting. They were amazing. So we were really lucky to get him.
Nice. And kind of last question for Britt. You've got a very impressive presence in the film as an actor. Do you want, you said no more than 2 jobs, but have you worked as an actor in other people's projects where you're kind of not 9 to 5, because acting doesn't really work that way, but are you open to just acting and stretching that way, or do you want to be the behind the camera?
I like both for different reasons, but acting, I just actually broke into, what would you call it?
A Hallmark movie.
Hallmark.
He did
a
one
Hallmark
with me.
movie, and man, that was different. So, yeah, I'm open to working on other projects. So,
Isn't it nice to sit down in between takes?
it is.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not worried about anything else. I'm over at Crafty, like.
Yeah, we'll just hit up Crafty the whole time.
I'll be here when you need me.
Yeah, be over here, man. So,
all right. Well, I feel like I got in on the ground level with you two, because this collaboration works, and it's gonna produce some incredible work in the future if this movie is any indication. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Literally, thank you so much. You made our day.
Yeah.